On this day, July 13, 1878, under the grand vaulted ceilings of the Radziwill Palace in Berlin, the most powerful statesmen and diplomats of the European great powers gather. Presided over by the Iron Chancellor of Germany, Otto von Bismarck, a monumental diplomatic accord is finalized, the Treaty of Berlin. This high-stakes summit was not a mere routine gathering. It was an urgent, direct response to the conclusion of the Russo-Turkish War, a brutal conflict that had shattered the fragile geopolitical stability of Eastern Europe.
Through this landmark agreement, the map of the Balkans is drastically and irrevocably redrawn. The great powers, Great Britain, Austria-Hungary, France, Italy, Russia, and Germany, officially grant formal recognition to the full independence of three new sovereign states, Serbia, Romania, and Montenegro. Today's historic signatures do not just severely diminish centuries of Ottoman dominance in southeastern Europe, they fundamentally alter the global balance of power, carving out new international borders that will dictate the fates of millions for generations to come.
For centuries, the Balkan Peninsula rested firmly under the iron grip of the Ottoman Empire, a regime increasingly ridiculed by Western contemporaries as the sick man of Europe. However, a crushing military defeat at the hands of the Russian Empire in the recent war forced the Ottomans to sign the preliminary Treaty of San Stefano. That initial treaty had granted Russia immense geopolitical leverage by creating a massive pro-Russian Bulgarian state. This sudden shift sounded immediate alarm bells in London and Vienna. Both Great Britain and Austria-Hungary adamantly refused to let Russia dominate the gates of the Mediterranean.
The Congress of Berlin was convened as an emergency diplomatic pressure valve to curb imperial egos and prevent the outbreak of a continent-wide war. Bismarck cleverly positioned himself as an objective, honest broker. The result was a cold, calculated compromise. Ottoman territories in Europe were aggressively carved up to satisfy the ambitions of rival empires. Britain took control of Cyprus, while Austria-Hungary was granted the right to occupy and administer Bosnia and Herzegovina. Ironically, instead of resolving regional tensions, this transactional diplomacy ignited a fierce fire of nationalism among the Balkan peoples, who felt their ancestral homelands were being treated as mere bargaining chips by imperial giants. For the peoples of Serbia, Romania, and Montenegro, July 13, 1878 marked a glorious new dawn, one that had been envisioned through centuries of struggle, blood, and sacrifice. The international recognition of their sovereignty was nothing short of a historic milestone. For generations, their distinct cultural identities, languages, and political rights had been heavily suppressed under foreign hegemony. Now, armed with their newly minted status as independent nations, they possessed the legitimate authority to chart their own destinies on the global stage. Yet, this hard-won independence brought with it immediate, monumental challenges. These three fledgling states had to hastily construct modern government institutions, draft enduring constitutions, build national militaries from scratch, and revitalize economies long drained by imperial taxation. Their sudden emergence fundamentally transformed the internal political landscape of the Balkans. They were no longer mere vassal territories or neglected provinces. They were ambitious, self-determined political actors who would heavily influence the course of European history as the world approached the 20th century. While the Treaty of Berlin successfully achieved its immediate objective, averting an all-out war between the great powers, the peace it manufactured was profoundly fragile and artificial. The elite diplomats gathered in Berlin drew arbitrary borders on a map with a callous disregard for the ethnic, cultural, and historical realities of the populations living within them. Diverse local communities were abruptly severed from one another. Crucially, volatile regions like Macedonia and Thrace were left under Ottoman rule, sowing deep seeds of resentment among their newly independent neighbors. Furthermore, the decision to allow Austria-Hungary to occupy Bosnia-Hungary created a highly volatile geopolitical time bomb. The resulting frustration, broken promises, and unfulfilled territorial aspirations planted the seeds for catastrophic future conflicts. These deeply flawed border divisions directly paved the way for the First and Second Balkan Wars in the early 1900s. Ultimately, the intense regional rivalries that took root in Berlin in 1878 would explode violently in Sarajevo in 1914, when the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand ignited the catastrophic global conflagration of World War I. To this day, the Treaty of Berlin of 1878 stands as a masterclass and a cautionary tale in the ruthless execution of balance of power politics and real politics. It vividly demonstrates how high-level international diplomacy can temporarily avert a global war, while simultaneously sacrificing the long-term stability of a local region to serve the strategic interests of empires. In doing so, it permanently earned the Balkan Peninsula its notorious moniker, the Powder Keg of Europe. How do you assess this critical turning point in history? Do you believe that top-down international diplomacy by major global superpowers is an effective tool for maintaining world peace? Or does it inevitably invite deeper, more volatile regional conflicts in the long run? Share your detailed thoughts and historical insights in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this historical deep dive, please give this video a like, share it with fellow history enthusiasts, and subscribe to our channel. Make sure to hit the notification bell so you never miss our next journey into the past. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next chapter of history.